This is my buddy Bear, a 14-week-old Bulldog mix, and he is a great dog. He has one of the worst problems for me to deal with, or fix though, not deal with, peeing in the kennel. And I think a lot of this is he came from a guy that I think was probably just breeding dogs for money. If you're going to get a dog, in this video, just so FYI, I'm going to teach you, go over potty training tips for puppies, as well as how to stop them from chewing, biting, and nipping you. And we'll also do a little bit of bonus on setting up a long-term confinement area or puppy play area to curb developing a chewing habit of the wrong things. And if we have time, and remember, we'll also teach you how to leave it. All right, so basically, he's such a good-looking dog. So what we want to do is, we'll start out talking about potty training. Now, the two most common mistakes people make for potty training is rubbing the dog's nose in it or getting angry when the dog has an accident in the house. I watched him have an accident in his kennel. His guardian didn't do anything, so I know she's not doing that. But one of the old wives says is rub the dog's nose in it. All that does is teach the dog that when I have to potty, the last thing you want to do is tell your guardian that you have to potty. Go behind the couch and potty there. That's not what you're looking for. So positive reinforcement is the only way to go when it's potty training an adult or a puppy, and he's just a puppy who does pee in his kennel. So what we want to do is, first of all, come up with a command word. Now, I like using the word business, but you can use any word you want. I know people use political figures that they don't like, friend that they don't like. You know, one of my guys in my puppy class calls it dump, and whatever the word is that you want. So we want to use a one-word command and a unique word that doesn't sound like anything else. So what you do is you have a high-value training treat like this. You take him to the area that you want him to potty. And this is not, I'm not going to talk about the puppy pad, which he's got in there. We're going to talk about traditional potty training. So you take him out a little bit of a walk, and walking will sometimes stimulate them and get them ready to go. Now, if he doesn't go within 5 minutes, it's not urgent enough for him to go. The digestive tract for a dog, liquids are about 45 minutes, solids are about 8 hours. And so one of the things you can do, here, Bear, here, buddy, is put warm water in with his dry kibble, and you'll know he'll have to potty liquid in about 45 minutes. So putting the dog in the right place at the right time is really a beneficial thing to do. So three times, well, first of all, don't get mad at your dog potties in the house. Make a loud noise by slapping, like stomping the wood or something like that, just to distract him, and then take him outside. And never rub his nose in it. If they had an accident and you feel like punishment is something that's required, you can get like a hammer or a stick or something that would hurt really bad and then hit yourself because you're the one who put your dog in position to have an accident. We don't want to use any punishment whatsoever for potty training. So what we do is we take the dog outside, and the 3 times the dog is most apt to need to go, right after waking up, 5 minutes after eating, and 15 minutes after the start of heavy playtime. So if he starts bounding around the place, he's roughhousing and just having a good grand old time, ask your watch or your phone to give you like a 10-minute timer and then take him outside. So when he gets that 15-minute mark, that's usually where he's going to need to go. He's in the right place. So when he does start to pee or poop, we want to send him the one singular command word for both of them. Sit. That's not potty training, it's just passive training. So basically, as soon as he starts to pee or poop, within 3 seconds, you want to say the word in a normal tone of voice. Now, if your dog's having an accident in the house and it starts going outside, you're like, buddy! And you see, you'll interrupt the dog from completing the act, and they'll come inside and have an accident. So as soon as he starts peeing and poop, if you're going to say the word business, you say business in a normal tone of voice within 3 seconds of him starting. And be within about 10 feet of him. The guardian doesn't have a yard, so she'll have him on a leash. As soon as he gets done, pop a treat in his mouth within 3 seconds of finishing and say the word potty again. So you're saying potty twice. Once when he starts, once when he finishes. Now, if he doesn't go in 5 minutes, bring him inside, put him in his long-term confinement area or his short-term confinement area, which is the kennel. Wait 15 minutes, then take him outside and try again. I sometimes will cheat, and like I said, I'll put more water in the dog's kibble, and I know within 45 minutes he's going to have to potty, so I take him for a long walk so he happens to be outside, and then I get to reward him, and he gets into a habit of pottying outside. Right? That's right. Okay, and let me see, what else? When it comes to potty training, there was something else I was going to cover, and it's slipped my mind, but it will come back to me. The other thing, yeah, it's the already came back. So what you want to do is also take him out once an hour. So again, we're hoping that just we catch him at the right time, he's in the right place at the right time, once an hour, right after waking up, 5 minutes after eating, 15 minutes after heavy playtime. And make a big deal with, not a big deal, but potty or whatever the word is. Here, buddy. This open hand is very attractive to a dog. To put him in a sit, I usually raise my hand. So if you really are religious about this for a week or two, after a while the dog, if he's in the long-term confinement area and he starts protesting, that's his way of saying, I get a potty and I don't want to waste this stuff inside, because if I potty inside, nothing happens. So I do it outside, I get a treat. So now he has more of a motivation to want to do it outside. Okay, now we're going to talk about mouthing and biting. Now he has a little bit of a cold today, so he's a little bit less rambunctious than normal. Developing good bite inhibition is probably one of the most important things you can do to teach your dog. Otherwise, sometimes they will, get their not him, but sometimes they'll get their tail caught in the door and turn around and maul their guardian's arm because they're in pain. If I'm in pain, I might slap somebody that happens to be right here just as a reaction. I don't mean it intentionally. So basically, what we want to do is to help him understand that putting his teeth on humans under any capacity is unacceptable. So what I do is basically, sometimes I would use a rope and a tug toy and play a little tug of war with it. That gives you the opportunity to practice. Anytime his teeth touch you, even if it's accidental, yelp like a little girl and stop playing with him. See if I can bring him over here in the shot and demonstrate a little bit. Come here, man. The treats are right here, buddy. Yes. All right. Whoops. This is a little bit easier. All right. So if you're playing with him and he puts his paws on you, I would try to, or his teeth on you. And so freeze for a second. And then you can go back after about a second or two and pet him and do the same thing. But anytime, even if it's accidental, even if you're lying on the couch and he does it, yelp. A lot of people just, dog licks and then starts gnawing, and we're watching, we're not paying attention. We're helping him practice something we don't want him to do. So the first thing you want to do is yelp loudly, retract your hand, and freeze for about 1 or 2 seconds, and then go back to doing what you're doing. That's the first thing. Second thing that I do is I want to redirect his attention. Now, so if he's really, I yelp and he comes back and does it a second time, what I would do is pull out a bully stick. Probably not a bully stick, though. I probably want this to be more of an antler. We don't have an antler or a nylabone, but something about this shape that you should have in your back pocket at all times. So when you come in, pull it out of your car, put it in your back pocket, or have it right inside the door. So now if I just give him something, he's not going to be that interested in it. Dogs like trophies. Now, he's trying to mouth it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke him here, he goes here, I'm going to poke him here, and poke him here, try to get him going, and then I'm going to let him latch onto it, and I'm going to make him pull it away from me. Now I've redirected him into chewing something appropriate, in this case a bully stick, but bully sticks should only be one a day, so you want to get those antlers, the nylabones that look like a skeleton bone. They'll come in a 3-pack. One will be flexible, one will be a cookie, one will be unflexible. That's one of those things you want in your back pocket. I also like antlers, like deer antlers, nylabones, I just talked about, or you can use carrots as well. But basically, I would stick with nylabones and antlers for now. And so you redirected him into chewing that, and now he takes his trophy that he feels like he won from you, and he walks away and goes and chews on it. You've now redirected him. Immediately pick up another one of these and put it in your pocket, because he's going to come back and do it again. Now, one of the other things that we can do is, a couple of things. One of them is if you yelp and he gets more aggressive, or you try to do this and he doesn't want anything to do with it, and he's just being ornery and chewing on you, a lot of times that means they're overly tired and they need a nap. That's why we have the benefit of long-term confinement area. I'm going to show you here in a second, and that's when he needs to go in there. And if he wants to protest or whatever, that's fine. You don't have to go to your kennel. You just have to, you're in there. And there's a bunch of appropriate chew toys in there for him. And it usually means he's cranky, needs a nap. If you can, put him in there and then go into your bedroom and watch TV or go out somewhere else. If he sees you, he's going to probably whimper and whine wanting your attention. Don't even look at him. Any attention is validating. So if he's whimpering and barking and you look at him to say, stop it, well, it worked. He got your attention. That's what he's trying to do. He'll do it more and more. It gets a cascading problem. You don't want to deal with it. That's the benefit of having a long-term confinement area. So the last thing you can do, which is hard to do when you have a puppy that is probably going to chew other things, is what we call negative punishment. Negative punishment means to deduct something from the equation. In this case, me. So he's chewing on me. That causes me to get up and leave and close the door behind me with him outside the door. So after a while, the dog's like, but I was chewing on you because I wanted you to play with me, and if I chew on you, it makes you leave. That's the opposite of what I'm trying to accomplish, so I'll stop doing that. That's why we talked about petting with the purpose of passive training and other stuff to motivate him to want to do those things. So that's how you want to stop him from mouthing or biting or chewing on you. However, we have a lot of wood and furniture that's very tasty to dogs. So if the dog is over here licking this, usually when they lick furniture, they're getting it wet or soft as a precursor to chewing. So I like using baby carrots. What I would do is I see him licking this, get up, go to the kitchen, get about 4 or 5 baby carrots. He's facing here. What I would do is wrap on the floor here, because the dog will look, and then I'm going to drop the treats. You see how that attracted him. Make sure you drop it for about 4 inches to 6 inches so it attracts his attention. Now he gets up and walks over here, lays down, chews the carrots. Chewing is a normal, appropriate behavior for puppies. Now you give him something appropriate to chew on. You've redirected him away from whatever he was done chewing on, so when he gets done, he walks in that direction. Added bonus, carrots actually ward off a type of cancer that's prevalent in dogs. So do broccoli. So I give my dogs, actually, when they're adults, a full carrot every week as just a bone. You have some interesting looking poop, but it helps prevent him from getting cancer. That's a nice way for him to chew on things. Also, make sure he has appropriate chew items. A lot of people, I find, they don't provide their dog with what they need to chew on, so they start chewing on your furniture. Your dog's going to chew. Either you can decide what your dog chews on, or your dog can decide, and I promise you, your dog will have more expensive taste. So get some antlers, some nyla bones, some real bones. A water buffalo horn would be highly recommended. It would be expensive. It will probably outlast your dog. Make sure the water buffalo is not hollow. It can be hollow. Make sure there's some thickness. They look like a horn. If it's too thin, they'll just splinter it. So make sure it's somewhat thick. But it'll last for a while. It was expensive for a reason. It'll last for a long time. Okay, so let me see. So giving him appropriate chew toys will help curb him from doing this. I don't have any of them here, but in our puppy class, one of the things that we do is I actually get, one of them is an Omega treat dispensing ball. It's a ball about, they have different sizes, but the one for him should be about size a little bit bigger than a softball. Or you can probably get a bigger one, the large one for him actually, because he's gonna be pretty big. It's got a hole in it, and you put his kibble in there. Then you put him in the long-term confinement area, and then you roll it around. Well, he's got to roll the thing just right for a couple pieces of kibble to come out. Then he licks it up, and then he nudges it some more. He'll be like a little soccer player nudging this thing around in his kennel. Well, now he's working for his food, which makes him feel better about himself. It also slows down the eating process, so he's not snarfing down on his food. And it also helps him practice. Why would I chew on a couch? If I chew this, just stuffing comes out. I chew the Omega treat ball, kibble or treats come out of it. So now I have added motivation when I chew the right things. Dogs are developing behavioral patterns just like we do as humans. So if your dog has the opportunity to chew on this furniture, shoes, socks, carpet, other things, that's a habit that's going to be very hard for them to curb for the rest of their life. So right over here, we're going to go ahead and shift, and can I turn the lights on?
Yeah.
Over here. So keep this one. Nope.
Oh, maybe I turn it off because of the fan.
All right, well, this won't be the most exciting footage.
There you go.
All right, so let's shift over here. Now, to get to, this is the long-term confinement area. Let me actually pull this out. He peed on this, so we're not going to put it on the ground. Basically, we want him to have a fun command word to come in here. So the way I teach this is I touch his nose with the treat, and I toss it in there, and we're going to call it club. So you toss a treat, he goes over and licks it up, and we say the word club. After we do that enough, we can say club, and he just runs over here on his own. Now we've come up with a command word to redirect his attention. Club. Okay, so this is an area that he can play in. Make sure he always goes through this. Make sure you close both gates, because sometimes they get their head stuck, they'll push it out a little bit. And you might need to get a dumbbell or something like that here to prevent him from moving it around. We have it anchored in the corner, and we have the puppy pad right there. Now, if you want to do some puppy pad training, if he happens to go there, you can say a word, and I would come up with an alternative word for potty. So maybe you're saying business for the potties outside. Maybe you could call it deposit here, or piddle, or whatever you want to say. So the idea is, and don't move this around. Once he's gone there, keep it there. So now he's practicing being in here, eating in this area. He's sleeping in here because he has one of the most difficult things to solve. He pees in the kennel. I recommend the guardian take the pad out. In this weather, even though it's getting late, it's the early fall, it's California, it's hot. And for him, he'd rather sleep on the plastic and it's going to be nice and cool. And if he does pee on it, it's easy to clean up. Okay, so, and I would have a water bowl in here, and again, feed him out of his, the Omega treat ball. And you can also get other types of toys. It doesn't have to be just the Omega. I have one that's like a dumbbell. The holes are on the side, so he has to flip it over to the side to get. I have one that's a star. He has to nudge it just right. There's a little pocket to get treats out of. So giving him these opportunities to chew on this stuff, to problem solve, will help him with his intelligence level, as well as help him feel better about himself, because again, he's earning it. Now, the other thing that's nice about this is it kennel trains your dog for you. because usually the only soft place is going to be in here. So he's probably going to spend a lot of time, even though it's not soft, it's cool, so he's going to spend time sleeping here. We have the door wired open to the kennel, so it's not ever closed. Most dogs, the kennel represents it's closed, or I'm restrained, and I only get put in here when my guardian leaves. So if you can't supervise, you're taking a shower, or you're doing something preoccupied, this is where he should be. He should be very comfortable in here. And feeding him out of that treat dispensing twice makes it longer. And you put him in there and start feeding him, then you leave and go to work. He gets done, he's like, oh man, okay, I guess I'll take a nap. And then if he wants to have an accident, if he does an accident in there, it's okay, it's in this area. Potty training is all going to be about in the morning when he's outside, like I talked about earlier. The other nice thing about this is it helps him practice being alone. A lot of dogs develop separation anxiety because they go from 100% access to their humans to 0, and they don't have anything in between. Well, now if you put him in here, and he, like, let's say he's eating, and when he's eating, you get out, you put a little Bob Marley on your record player, go in your bedroom and lay down, and read a little bit. He's practicing. He knows you're still here. He can smell you, he can hear you, but you're not close. He's not touching you. He does not see you. He's practicing somewhere between 100% access and 0. So this is a nice way to help build up a dog's self-esteem and confidence and help them not develop a case of separation anxiety. Crash. I would pet him right now, but I can't reach him with it. Okay, so because the guardian is super duper nice and she has a wonderful puppy, I'm going to show you how to teach a dog to leave it as well. In order to do the leave it exercise, you want a high value training treat. Let's go ahead and shift you back over there. It'll probably be easier shot. And so what I'm going to do, the leave it is a really important exercise because dogs, it's natural for them to scarf stuff down. I'm going to get on the floor, so you might want to sit down where you were before. So teaching them to drop things is also beneficial. So I'll mention that real quick. So if the dog has an item in his mouth, not that he's holding and chewing on it, but exclusively in his mouth, take a high value training treat, touch his nose with it, don't tell him to drop, just wait. As soon as he drops it, pop it in his mouth and don't pick the object up. So what you're saying is, look, if you got good stuff, if I tell you to drop and you drop it, I'll give you something better than what you have and you get your original stuff back. That's a pretty good deal. That way, if he picks up your shoe or remote control or underwear or socks or whatever it is, you can say drop, and he gleefully drops because he's going to get something better. Now, at that point, you would take the thing away. Now, if you're taking something away that's a high value item, make sure you trade it with like a bully stick or something that's like along those lines. Otherwise, he won't drop it the next time. All right, so to teach a dog the leave it exercise, it'd be better if you're facing the camera because you're a handsome fellow. We want everybody to know what you look like. Let's turn you around, buddy. Come over here. So I have a high value training treat in my loose hand. I'm going to hold it here in front of his mouth, and he's going to try to take it. I have treats in my other hand. As soon as he backs off, I give him the treat. Wait for him to get done chewing it. And have your hand loose so he can't get to it, but he's interested in it. And as soon as he stops trying to take it, then I give him a treat. So that's the first stage. And wait for him to finish chewing. I know, those are chewy, huh? Chicken liver. Leave it. Okay, so that's the first stage. You want to do that yourself until he's no longer really accosting your hand. The second stage is I take a treat like this and I drop it, and then I cage it. Now he's going to try to take it, so make sure he doesn't have access, and I have a treat in my other hand. He never gets the object that he put on the ground. And he's pawing at it because he really wants it. I wait for him to back off. He's determined. Bulldog, of course. I had to check and make sure it was still there. So you get it and you don't realize they got it. So the instant he stops, leave it. And then I pick the object up. Let's come over here, buddy. Let's try that again. Everybody. Leave it. Now let's try to see if we can go to the next stage. Oh, nope, not quite ready for that one. So the next stage is you want to hover your hand over it. But if he goes for it, you have to collapse down. He cannot get it. If he gets it, then he's going to continue trying to get it. So you're just waiting for him to back away, leave it. So eventually you'll be able to drop it and hold your hand here, and he won't go for it. Now be close so you can collapse down if you need to. Now the next stage is, let's see if I can do this one, and then we'll wrap this one up. Sit, all right, let's bring you around, buddy. Come on. There we go. it's not going to be the best angle. I want you to be able to see your face, right? Because I want you to give me some eye contact before I give it to you. Sit. Leave it. So by having him look at me before I give him the treat, this is very accelerated. This is not something you would do normally. You want to practice just this a couple times until he just looks at, he sniffs it and backs away. And then you give him the treat. Then you're going to drop to the point where you can drop it and he doesn't go for it, and you can cage it without having to actually put your hand down, you just hold it in the hover position. And then you want him to look up at you, and then you give him the treat so he understands that the human is in charge of whether or not I get the treat, so I should check in with the human rather than trying to take it from them. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Make sure, and he should sleep in the long-term confinement area. Some people like to sleep with their dogs, but it's a habit. You can always give him more access later. But once you give him an access, it's hard to bring it to deduct it. So I would get him used to doing that now, because again, he needs to practice sleeping alone so he doesn't develop separation. If you go on a vacation to Cabo, he needs to be able to hang out and feel confident being by himself. All right, let's get you to turn around and we'll wrap this one up. And eventually, if you see something on the ground and you have a good leave it, you can see it, you say leave it, he looks up at you, and then you give him a treat here as you pass the object. Well, this is my good-looking buddy bear. Let's see if we can end it with a sit. Sit. And these are tips and tricks on how to teach your dog to, well, let's summarize. Potty training, no chewing or biting, nipping on humans, no chewing the carpet. Oh, I forgot one last thing about the baby carrots. Once he starts getting into baby carrots, start freezing them. He's going to start teething here in a couple weeks if he hasn't already. And when he teethes, he's going to want to chew on everything to soothe and knock his gums and also to knock the teeth out. So if you freeze the baby carrots, and then when he's chewing on the wrong stuff, it's to knock the teeth out. You rinse the hard frost out of the baby carrots, and then give it to him. The coldness will help numb his gums, which will make him feel more pleasant, or alleviate the pain a little bit. All right, so this is our tips and tricks to stop your dog from chewing and mouthing on you, potty training, stop chewing on your furniture, setting up a long-term confinement area, and a bunch of other stuff that I can't remember right now. Right, Bear? Right.